calculate margin, right? So it's very different to variation margin. There's, I think, two options. I think there's a real and do you want to talk a little bit about the choice around calculations and how you calculate financial margin?
Yeah, Hannah. So your choice basically either using the SIM model or end up using the regulatory grid that's specified in the relevant jurisdictions. And your agreement with your counterparty is going to be evidenced in your IM document in the regime table. So there you can elect whether you want SIM to apply to all your transactions or some of your transactions, and then use the grid for others. So I kind of stopped there, right? So in the US side, I think the regulatory obligations on the dealer side. So I think the buy side entities wouldn't really spend the time to kind of have their come up with their own model. But the question is whether you want to engage a third-party vendor in order to sort of have them help you calculate the SIM number, in order to sort of make sure your dealer is making the right call.
Yeah, and I don't know whether you see much around delegation.
Yeah, so like when we started this journey, back in 2016, we had to build the model ourselves. So I was representing Standard Chartered Bank, HSBC. But now when we fast forward to this year, there are so many technology vendors out there that you can buy the technology and the license. So there's about 19 ISDA-SIM license providers out there. So the challenge now is finding which is the right one for you, looking at your existing technology. And the calculations are now very robust, and the dealers do provide calculations, and you can rely on them based on the US rules. But in Europe, you need to have an independent validation on that to make sure that you are independently checking that number from the dealer's point of view. So again, the dealers provide these calculations on a daily basis, and it's a great way to consume that to allow you to prioritize and also realize how quickly you're going to burn that 50 million threshold. And you can have a mixture of models as well. So we see that as well. So some clients want to have, say, rates on the SIM model and then everything else on the grid. So it's not one model for everything.
If I were to be very general about which model we'd take, if you've got a multi-currency, well-balanced portfolio, well-hedged, the SIM model is vastly preferable to the regulatory grid. Regulatory grid is pretty much notional-based. But if you have a directional portfolio, I do one single type of trade and I do that all day, every day, and the majority of it is just covering risk, then I would steer away from the SIM model. It's overly complicated and doesn't give me that much benefit over that regulatory grid. So your counterparty should be able to tell you which one's more appropriate for the type of trading you do. And that should help inform whether or not you should be outreaching to a vendor or for that SIM service, whether or not your counterparty can do that for